Okay, getting ready for some double pit action tonight. We're going to be grilling using the Dutch oven and using the kettle grill. We're going to be smoking some chili peppers, and then we're going to be using the Dutch oven to get our meat right for the fajitas. And then we've got the big skillet that we're going to be using for making the fajitas. Now when the smoking comes along, I've got some scrub oak here. It's actually a member of the white oak family, and we've got literally acres of them here on our property. It's a great wood, puts a real nice flavor into it, and it's it's what I got. So we're getting ready. Okay, I've got the 12-inch trivet holding up the top of the skillet lid, and I've got the 6-inch trivet. I'm using that to put the Dutch oven on for right now, because we're not going to be putting any trivets in the pit tonight. We don't need to. We're going to be covering them up with the... Hold on, get out of the way. We're going to be using just the skillet laid into the fire pit, and then we're going to be using our grill over our top on the left-hand side on our rebar. Here's a little implement I made for doing the fajitas on the big skillet. It's basically a wooden, like a big wooden spoon, but it's sort of shaped to the contour of the skillet. Oh, I got my little basket ready here. I got the green chilies, the red pepper, green peppers, and a nice Vidalia, a sweet onion, and some of my seasonings and stuff, and I just sharpened my knife up, so I'm going to get ready to prep those. I'm going to be taking the seeds out of these green chilies just because I think they're probably hot enough by themselves. I'm looking for more flavor than I am heat. Okay, I'm cutting my onion up into wedge style. So I just lay it down and chop it, and it'll all break apart when I throw it in the skillet later on. But I'm just trying to get everything ready for later on, because it's about 3 or 4 o'clock, so I got another 2 hours of light, so I got enough time, but I don't want to run out of light like I did last night. Okay, likewise with the green pepper and the red pepper, I sliced them up into long pieces and pretty big, because that skillet's hot, and if you cut it too small, it's just going to evaporate. See, when comes time to put these on the skillet, we go pretty quick, because the meat's already going to be cooked, and we add the onions with them, but it's literally, it's a 45-second to 2-minute process, and they're totally done. Okay, now I split the green chilies and took the seeds out and whacked the stems off the top. These are going to actually get put on the grill when I put that oak in the other pit and smoke them a little bit. I'll be smoking the meat, and I'll be smoking these. I'm going to roast them a little bit, get them just a little bit charred, and put that little oak flavor into them. Actually, getting the pits ready takes way more time than the cooking does, so I try to get everything kind of ready ahead of time, because when things start to happen, it goes quickly. So this is a suggestion I make. Do the same, because if you start to try and cut things up when your fire's just right, you might miss that time frame. So my next step is I'm going to get the meat out, and I'm going to singe it in the Dutch oven. Okay, I've got the Dutch oven on the grill side. Now, eventually here, I'm going to put some of my oak in there for smoking, but for right now, we're just going to use it to throw some bacon in there, and we're going to singe the meat a little bit on a couple sides and get it ready so we can slice it up for fajitas. Okay, once this gets browned up a little bit, we're going to take the bacon out and just throw our meat in there and singe it. Now, a little of your favorite beverage at this point doesn't hurt a bit. Kind of adds to the broth a little bit. We're going to be throwing a little bouillon in there too, because once we singe it, we are going to slow cook it, for about 15-20 minutes. The only season I'm using here is a little salt and pepper, because I want those roasted chilies to put the flavor into the meat. Okay, I've got the meat in there singeing. I'm going to let it go about 30-40 seconds on each side. Okay, I just put a little beef broth in there, and I'm going to let that boil up just for about, a minute on each side, and then I'm going to take the Dutch oven off the grill and let it cool off. Okay, the way I tell this is done pretty much is when the beef broth is boiled off and there's not much left of it. At this point I season up a little bit more on my last flips right before I take it off of the fire. Okay, that's about perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this off of the grill here and set it over on one of these rocks and let it cool off a little bit till we kind of get caught up with the other ingredients we got to work on now. Okay, I got the meat covered up in the Dutch oven. It's just sort of sizzling away there. I got it sitting over on a rock here on the other side of the grill. And now I got to work on the pit. I'm going to knock down these coals, pop that grill off for a second, knock down the coals. I'm going to put my oak in there, get it ready to start roasting. Okay, I got the white oak laid in on there, and boy, you can already smell that smell. It's wonderful smell, because I used just some Doug fir and ponderosa to get the fire going. But we want to let those coals go all the way down, so that's probably another 45 minutes or so. And then we're going to put the grill back on and we're going to start roasting our chilies. Dakota, what do you think? He's there just paying attention to everything we're doing, make sure we don't miss anything up. Okay, this is a little bit of a waiting game now. Might enjoy a little beverage, just whatever, just keep an eye on the coals. Because the right side's going to be where the skillet's going to go, and it's got to burn down a little bit first. And the left side, well, we definitely got to get those oak coals down before we can put our green chilies on there to roast them. Okay, I knocked down the coals a little bit on the left side, where all the oak is. Trying to level it out a little bit and push it along a little bit in the process. And the other side, where the skillet's going to go, I might actually transfer some of that wood back over to the other pit here, but I just want to make sure it doesn't cool off too much. Okay, what I'm doing while I'm letting those coals get right for the next stop, the meat cooled off enough where I can handle it, so I'm cutting it up into real thin slivers, because this is what's going to go into the skillet. We're ready to start making our fajitas, but I'm just going to kind of do a little prep work right now. Of course, one of your obligations as the cook here is you need to cut off of those outside tips that are a little bit more done than the other places and make sure that it's just right. Well, I can assure you it's just right. So these are all ready now for when it's time we put them on the skillet to stir up the fajitas, when we put the onions and the green peppers and red peppers in with them. This is the same process you do if you're going to be making carne asadas or whatever. Get that meat as thin as you can, and it's a little harder to cut it thin when it's not quite cooked like this, but you just get it as thin as you can and it's ready to go onto the skillet later. Here was I trimmed off all the fat, which I'm going to lay down the skillet to get it rolling, but pretty much I got a few pieces left to clean up a little bit, but there's one right there. But we want to have pretty much red meat going into the skillet for the fajitas. Okay, the meat's pretty much trimmed up. So I got the meat ready, a little bit of fat over here that we'll put in the skillet to get it kind of going. The veggies are ready. Fires are, they're still up there a bit. And the green chilies are ready to go. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get the green chilies going. Okay, I put the grill back on the rebar on the left pit. And I threw those fat scraps in there, mixed in with that bacon grease, and we'll use this once it gets all blended up. We're going to put that into our pan with our skillet as our kind of our grease and shortening to make the stuff go good. And it's starting to go right now already. But I'm going to let that go for about a minute or two, and then I'm going to take it back off the grill and let it cool off. Okay, I'm using my new little device I made here, stirring, but also if you look, I got a hook on it that actually can pick up that Dutch oven if I need to. Okay, I just add a little more beef broth into that mix there and let it cook for about another 30-40 seconds. So I'm going to take it off and let it cool off. Okay, I laid it over here on one of the rocks and I'm going to let it cool off a little bit. All those meat chunks, they might just be a little treat for a pup dog, I happen to know. Little side story here, but the ponderosas are all clicking and popping. They're all throwing out their little seeds. They're like little helicopters. It's kind of neat. They're coming out so that when the snow lays on them, they'll dig down in the ground a little bit and maybe make a new ponderosa tree. Okay, the yolk holes are about right, so I'm going to start laying the chilies on here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the skillet lid on them. But I'm not going to let them go too long. Maybe a minute, minute and a half, and flip them. I'm just going to keep an eye on them because you never know how hot it really is. Okay, the other pit's ready now. I'm going to lay the skillet over on top of it. Let it get warmed up. Okay, the other pit's ready now, so I'm going to put the skillet over on top of it and let it get warmed up. Okay, I threw a few of those fat chunks on there just to, as you can hear, they're already starting to sizzle. So I'm going to stir them around and line the whole skillet with some of that fat. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm moving this fat around. Just getting a fresh coat of the fat from that meat on there. And when they're all done, well, you know who's going to get this put in his dog dish tonight with his regular dog food. So we're trying to use up all that fat that we can. You can see how it makes the skillet get shiny, because it soaks into that metal. Okay, the chilies, about 1.5 minutes on each side. I just flipped them, and they're going to be done here real quick. Then we're going to slice them up and throw them in the skillet when we put all the other vegetables in there. Okay, the chilies are roasting on both sides, so I'm going to let them cool off a little bit. Then I'm going to slice them up into thin slices. Okay, the next process that's going on here is you might not have too much camera action. I'm going to try and kick in and out a few times, but after I slice those chilies up and put those veggies and meat on there, I'm going to be steady stirring it. So I'm going to might set the tripod up, something like that, but I want to make sure you get an idea of what's going on. Well, I got those roasted chilies all sliced up into, nice little pieces. And then we're about ready to start stirring everything together. It starts to get fun. I put the chilies in first with the meat. And once the meat's about, halfway cooked, then I put the rest of my veggies in there. Doesn't take long with this skillet because it's 500-600 degrees easy. So you just keep it moving. Don't ever stop. I put the skillet cover on and got all the veggies mixed in, and I put a little bit of beef bouillon in there to help me stir it out. But here again, don't let it get sitting on there too long. Oh, that's a thing of beauty. So for me, I use the onions as my indicator. When they start to look a little bit translucent, a little bit browned, we're pretty much done, because we kind of like our veggies a little bit on the not well done side. But those peppers, or the green chilies rather, they're mixed in with that meat, that nice flavor right now. Okay. A lot of work just to get to this point.